we're back. No, I'm not actually that enthusiastic about it, but I say fake it till you make it. Here we go. Let's see. Figured out how to use the timer on this thing. Here we go. My poor Poppy. She really thought we were going for a you-know-what. Starts with a W, ends with a K. Sorry, little one. I guess you haven't figured out the routine yet. Aw, poor disappointed puppy. Okay, it's day 2 of week 4, and it's time to do some walking. We're at the park. We have nice, cool weather, and we have only one car in the parking lot. Now, there are some houses that are like backed up against the park, so there can be some in and out from that, but it looks like it's going to be pretty much just us this morning, which is a huge blessing, as always. I might not have a lot of video from as I'm going today, because today I'm going to be testing out something new. I would kind of like to see how it feels to run a little bit, but I have very little running experience, so I know I need to like ease into it. So I'm going to be doing some intervals today, and I'm going to try to keep up with that until it feels a little less terrible, I guess. And I want to do this mostly because honestly, I feel like it would, well, I mean, obviously the further distance I can go in the time that I have should be giving me a little bit higher, like, calorie burn and stuff like that. I believe I'm not a physical scientist or I mean, like, body scientist, but I think it should be giving me a little more like work. And second, because I like to be going through things quickly. And there's also the idea in my head of like, if I can run for 20 minutes and get 2 miles instead of walk for 30 minutes and get 1.5 miles, like that would allow me to have an option to at least still get the same distance if there's a day when I need to shorten. Plus, I'm assuming that running will tire Poppy out a little extra, and the more I can tire Poppy out, the better, because she really needs that exercise and stimulation, especially since, at least at the present moment, she's only getting it every other day. So that's kind of the things for me and my reasoning. So, but because of that, because I don't have like any equipment that I feel comfortable using while I'm walking and running, to hold my phone, I don't want to do videos while I'm doing the running. And when I'm doing the walking, I may be a little too out of breath to really say much. But yeah, so we're going to start with a 5-minute warm up of just walking, and then we'll do some intervals of running and walking. So here we go. I'll let you know how it turns out. Okay, here's the body glue. We finished. We're just heading back to the car. I'm definitely extra exhausted. I don't know if she is, but I think it felt good. Basically, every time I was getting to the point of like, okay, I can't breathe, it would be the end of the 1 minute to run and back to the rest. So, well, the walk, you know. So anyway, it broke up the time a little bit. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself. Okay, so super tired, very panting puppy. We're gonna go home and get her some good waters. Yeah, that was definitely more exhausting, but also at the same time, I'm really proud of myself. And I do feel like maybe by the end of the 30 minutes, the times when I was running was getting like a little bit easier. I definitely would be surprised if I'm not spending all of this week and next week just on what is my first step of running, which is 5-minute walking warm up, and then 1 minute run, 2 minutes walk. And then I did at the very end, I'm not 100% sure my timers were going correctly the whole time. So my timing might've been slightly off, but it just so happened that my 30-minute alarm was gonna be, when I finished one run, it was 3 minutes, which would give me enough time for 1 2-minute walk and then 1 run, but then I'd be doing like another 1 to 2 minutes of cool down after that, and I was really, really tired and done. So I'm like, you know what, it's okay. I'm really proud of what we've done. We're gonna just do a 3-minute walk, cool down, finish up. And so yeah, that actually worked out really perfectly, and then got back to the car. I do think I went a little bit further distance than I normally go when I'm just walking, but it's really hard to tell, especially because my run at this point is basically a very slow jog. I'm guessing a speed walker could probably go faster than I am. But yep, we've got a very tired puppy, all worn out, a very tired Cabrina, ready to go home, and glad to be finished with another one. Yeah, proud of us, Poppy. Oh, I did want to say there was also, during one of our 2-minute rests, there was a really, really cute little boy and his dad that were just kind of meandering through the park, and they stopped, and I was like, oh dear, they're like right in the middle of the bridge and I can't get past them. And then he was like, hey, he wants to pet your dog. Is she friendly? And I was like, oh yeah, she's very friendly, but you know, he's really small and she's really big and she's kind of a puppy still, so she might kind of jump. And he was like, oh, that's okay. So I was like, all right, yeah, sure. So we just approached gently, and dad pet first, and I was so proud of this puppy right here because she just sat and let them pet her and just sniffed nicely. She was a very good girl. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Look at that worn out puppy. She says, yes, I'm all wore out. Okay, here we go. Day 3, week 3. Let's do this. Gotta set my timer. Gotta turn my watch on. Today I actually have somewhere to be at 11:30, so I'm trying to get going quickly. I mean, the time it takes me to do the exercise is the time it takes me to do the exercise, but still. One thing that I'm realizing is kind of hard about trying not to use weight or weight loss as the primary metric of how I'm doing with this exercise and how it's affecting my health, which I did weigh myself pretty early on, but I actually have kind of tried to weigh myself once or twice, and the scale that I have access to is not working. So I can't even use that if I want to right now. But the hard part about not using that as a metric is that for me, where I don't feel the benefits of like, oh, I've got so much more energy now, or I'm sleeping better now, like that could be true, but I don't feel it in a measurable way. And the hard part about that is that it's hard to feel certain that it's doing anything, if that makes sense. Because like realistically, the real things that you're like trying to do with exercise are ultimately metrics that you either have to like go to the doctor to get measured, or in a lot of ways are really not even things that necessarily even the doctor can show you. Like obviously, if you have high blood pressure and between diet and exercise, your high blood pressure goes away, that's a metric. If you are pre-diabetic and then you stop being pre-diabetic, that's something that a doctor can tell you. But that's not really something you can measure on your own. And for sure, the other things like, you know, a healthier life, longevity, you can't really tell just by being yourself at home if you've increased your lifespan by having a healthier heart, if that makes sense. So like, while weight loss is 100% not the only metric of being healthy / getting healthier, it's definitely completely understandable why it's the most common one, because it's the easiest for you to measure on your own. But I'm not able to do that right now. So I have to confess that like, honestly, I think that's part of why I'm doing things like trying to run and adding these weights in, because I'm trying to say, okay, maybe my metric is I can do more than I could before. And like, I will say, I think maybe like my knees have not hurt as much. I'm not 100% sure on that, because it's not like my knees just constantly hurt. And I don't think I'm doing, even though I'm doing more purposeful exercise now, during the school year, I walk like 7,000 steps a day minimum, and I don't walk that many steps now. So it's hard to tell if it's just less activity means less joint stress. Also, we painted yesterday, so the hallway is significantly brighter. I don't know if you can tell easily on the video, but I love how much brighter it is. Whoever owned this house previously had painted the walls this horrible like beigey tan color. It was awful. Now it's all white. White's not necessarily the color I would go with for like my home. I'm not a, if I owned a home, I would not be a paint it for if you sell it type person. I would be a paint it for me person and figure it out later. But the white is definitely way preferable to the strange tan beige color. It's so much brighter. My parents, I've been helping them, but it's mostly been my parents. My parents have been repainting the house slowly but surely over time. So there's still a few rooms that would need paint ultimately, but way more of the house is the bright white color now as opposed to the sad tan beige. Okay, round 2. Yeah, I'm still gonna do no weights on this part for round 2 for now. I am really pleased that I don't feel a lot of like pain in my legs or tightness from upping my game yesterday. I'm hoping that means I did it well with like the 5-minute warm up and the cool down period. Also, I'm a little bit surprised my arms did get quite tired from the painting yesterday. So I'm a little surprised I don't have soreness from that. But also, I will say historically, I've definitely been sore from exercise or, just a lot of movement. But I will say historically, I don't feel like I get sore as often as most people do. But maybe that's just because I don't push the way that a lot of people do. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I just, I'm doing this for a little improvement, not like a huge muscle build. So maybe that's why the muscles aren't like stressed. I will say, I do think this is good for my knees, the squats part, because I did do some physical therapy when I was in Japan after I had knee surgery, and one of the things that I did have to do was squats. So I feel like I'm okay on my form there. I'm probably not perfect, but I feel like I'm okay, especially given the constraints of this is like I'm basing my form off of what I remember from my physical therapist and what he told me was best for my knees. So like I may not be going as low as would be ideal or something, but I'm trying to pay attention to the forms that I remember him telling me to do. And just to clarify, because it's running through my head, I don't have bad knees. I'm sure weight affects how bad my bad knees are, but I don't have bad knees because I'm overweight. I learned when I was in Japan that my knees were I was born with sort of wrong knees. Yeah, my knees, well, after surgery, my left knee does not hyperextend anymore, but my knees both used to hyperextend excessively. My right knee still does, and my left knee and right knee are too far in, and they don't sit right, which caused my left knee to do a lot of dislocating, which is very bad. So now I have an artificial ligament in my left knee to keep it from dislocating. This exercise is the hardest for me. Okay, last set. better get going. Welcome back to another episode of I don't want to be here or do this, but it's supposed to be good for me, so I'm doing it anyway. I am on day 4 of the week, day 2 of walk running thing, poppy exercise, I guess let's call it. And yeah, we're just gonna get started. We're gonna do the same thing as last time this week. And the only thing I'm gonna add today is that I am going to set my little Map My Walk app, because I'm gonna see if I'm actually going any farther when I'm doing the running right now. I know that in theory eventually I will be, but I'm curious to see if just doing that 1 minute interval of running actually puts me at going farther as of this moment in the 30 minutes that I'm doing. So we'll see. I've done the Map My Walk a couple of times, and my average when I'm walking is about 1.6 miles. So let's see how far I get when I'm doing 1 minute intervals running. But let's do it. Let's get to it. Okay, first 10 minutes done. There's a poppy though. We're working. We're getting it. We're doing the things. I'm really out of breath. Okay, I'm utterly exhausted. Looks like so's the poppy dog. I think that might have been harder than last time, to be honest. Not sure if that's just the natural way it goes with this type of thing, or if it's just, a combination of whatever I've had to eat this week, or I don't know what the reasoning may be, but it definitely was a little bit harder. But that makes me extra proud of myself that I did it. And it followed about the same pattern as last time. And interestingly, I kind of had a theory that I think I'm going a little bit slower pace in the 2 minute rest times than my typical walking pace, which sort of counteracts the faster pace when I'm doing the little jog bits. So I sort of had a theory that right now I'm probably going about the same distance. Plus, I know how many laps it usually takes me walking. And it's usually like 5.5 laps, and that feels like what I've been getting with the last 2 days with the adding the running bit. And the mileage tracker definitely would agree, because I got about 1.6 miles, which is what I usually do. So definitely think right now I'm not gaining any mileage with what I'm doing, but I feel really good about doing it for the second day in a row, especially because it does feel a little more brutal on my body, to be honest. And today I forgot my headphones, so that was extra painful for me. It's really hard for me to not have something to be like listening to kind of occupy my mind a little bit. But I did it, and I'm proud of myself for getting it done, and I am hopeful that it will eventually get somewhat easier to do this first stage. Of course, by the time it does get easier to do stage 1, I will bump up the difficulty, but little by little, we're making progress, we're doing good things, and I feel pretty good about that. So, on to the rest of the day. Thanks for joining me. Okay, we're gonna see how this works. I am being lazy and not using my, more professional recording microphone, because I'm just doing, a really quick little audio snippet to go with day 5. So this video, I feel like there's usually some amount of me talking to the camera in my videos, just because it seems like it's more interesting to hear me talk as opposed to just watch me do exercises. I have no idea if that's accurate to how people feel, but that's how I would feel. So I usually try to at least say a couple of things to the camera, and then have, maybe a little sped up sequence of me doing some of the exercises as sort of a proof that I did them and that I completed my task for the day. But today I had a late night last night, and then I was actually over at my brother and sister's, so I came home this morning, and I therefore got started way later than I would normally want to get started on it. And it was kind of just, it was really hard for me to do the exercise today, and so I just didn't really feel like saying anything or doing anything. I didn't have anything I wanted to add. Mostly I just wanted to do it and get it done because I wanted to accomplish doing it today. I don't feel sick. I'm not having like any huge issues or anything. I just had a couple of reasons that I didn't want to do it. And I felt like while those would be kind of potentially valid reasons for me to give myself grace and say, look, I'm really tired, it's later than I want, I'm just going to give myself grace and skip a day, I also felt like, but how proud of myself am I going to be if I do this? And what about if there's people who are following along with me or who will follow along with me in the future that have also had days where they're like, man, I don't really have any physical or even mental reason why I can't do this, but except for the mental reason of I really, really don't want to. It sounds really agonizing to do this today. And I want to be able to say like, hey, I've been there, and give yourself grace if you skip the day because of it. But also if you want a partner to say, I'm in it with you, experiencing how terrible this feels on some days, but I'm doing it anyway. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but yeah, that was kind of my thought process for today. So rather than have anything that I was saying in the video, I ended up, as I was editing it, deciding that I wanted to do a little voiceover to kind of explain how I was feeling on this day and why there's no like talking throughout the video. But hopefully that can be something inspiring and uplifting to somebody else maybe. And I'm still really, really proud of myself that I did accomplish it and I got it done and I did my full normal exercises and all that. So that feels good to me. Good morning. Happy 4th of July. Happy 250 years to America. United States of America, I mean. I really, really, really wanted to not come today. I am very sleepy. I didn't sleep very much last night, which is partially my own fault. And I say partially only because I'm notoriously bad at sleeping in general, but I did allow myself to be overly distracted last night and paid too little attention to what time it was. But not only am I really tired, it's also a holiday. And it's not a holiday that's like ever been a super big deal for my family. Like, don't get me wrong, I like being a United States citizen. I am glad that we declared our independence all those 250 years ago and all that jazz. But it's just not a super like important holiday to my family. And honestly, ever since we've had dogs, it's always sort of been kind of a hassle holiday, to be honest, because most of what we experience on that day is trying to keep our dogs from going utterly insane because of all of the people who are not professionals who want to set off really loud, really big fireworks. It bothers me. It bothers me. And also because of not getting a lot of sleep, I'm starting a lot later than I normally would. It's probably going to be a little bit more busy in the park today. But I was thinking about not coming, and I was weighing, like I did the only time I've missed so far in the 3 weeks, if I just needed to give myself grace and not do this. But next week I can't do Saturday because I will be leaving for my mission trip, and I leave way too early for me to do that. Plus I'll be staying the night at a friend's house who's also on the mission trip so that we can travel together to meet up with some others on the team. And so I know that next week it's not going to make the full 6 days. And I have just started doing this running thing, which also like sounds really terrible to me right now because I'm really sleepy, but I want to see it through. And as much as I do want to have grace for myself, I also am doing this as a challenge and to push myself. And there are going to be days where it's really, really hard. I knew that going in. And so I don't want having grace for myself to turn into just whenever I really don't feel like it, I don't do it. So this is a bit of a longer intro today. I do think there's some families in the park, so I would be surprised if I get any filming while I'm on the walk, but I'll recap at the end with how it went at the very least. And yeah, happy 4th of July. Let's cap this week off and get to the relaxing part, and then we get our rest day tomorrow. Okay, we are about halfway through. We're doing it. It's a struggle. I feel awful, but I'm doing it. Okay, I did it. I got just a tiny bit further today than yesterday. I'm not gonna put, or not yesterday, than last walking day. I'm not gonna put, it's hard to tell if that's like totally accurate because on the one hand, I went a little longer accidentally. It's really hard to judge when I'm getting down to the last minute or two how close I am to the parking lot, and I would rather do a little extra than a little under. And for my brain, like if I get to the car and my time's not done, it's really extra hard to walk away from it. So I ended up not getting back to the car until maybe 1 or 2 minutes after my 30-minute alarm had gone off. However, so that could be the reason. However, on the other hand, it might be accurate that I somehow pushed myself harder and went farther today because, I mean, I did go farther, but like in the allotted time. Because one of my 2-minute walking breaks, I really had to go to the bathroom, and I was right near the bathrooms here. So I was like, you know what, I'm in one of those breaks. I'm just gonna try to see if I can go to the bathroom real quick while I'm on that 2-minute walking break. But of course that meant during those 2 minutes I didn't actually walk. So I guess I'm kind of hoping that I did actually somehow manage to go a little further today than last time, only by like 0.2 miles. When I finished it was like 1.8. But regardless of whether or not I did 1.8 in 30 minutes today, I did do 1.8 today, which is good. That's only 0.2 away from 2 miles. So, you know, I kind of would like to get to 2 miles. I don't know. I like round complete numbers, and it just would feel a little bit satisfying to say I go on a 2-mile walk run every morning, or not every morning, 3 days a week, as opposed to saying I go for a 30-minute one. And I will be honest, the sooner I can get to 2 miles, the sooner that I can consider doing less than 30 minutes. I probably won't do less than 30 minutes until my first 4 weeks is finished, partially to give myself a full like test of doing the run walking, and also to feel like I've completed the full challenge that I set out to do, which was 30 minutes 6 days a week in these 3 days kind of thing. But we shall see. I'm really excited about the fact that I finished, and 1 more week down. Week 3 is complete. We did it. And yeah, 1 more week of the original challenge to go. And I'm just trying to help my brain remember that even though the challenge is going to be done, we're still going to continue doing fitness. We're still going to continue with basically the same routine, because we're trying to establish a routine here, but it is going to feel good to have accomplished that first goalpost, I guess. So I'm looking forward to checking that goalpost off. All right, I want to get home, so see you guys next week, hopefully.